Hey Taurus, I need to talk to you about something that's been showing up in the cards today, and honestly, it's giving me chills in the best way possible. Have you been waking up with tears on your face? Like you've been crying in your dreams for someone and you don't even fully understand why? Because what I'm seeing here is not just random dream activity. This is your soul communicating something profound about a connection that runs deeper than this lifetime. I shuffled the deck 3 times asking specifically about what these tears mean, what this person represents in your soul journey, and why the universe is using your dream state to deliver these messages. And Taurus, the cards that came through are absolutely stunning. They're telling a story about a bond that transcends the physical realm, a connection that your conscious mind might not fully grasp, but your soul recognizes instantly. Before we dive into what each card revealed, I want you to take a breath. Because some of what's coming through might make you emotional, might validate feelings you thought were silly or dramatic, and might completely shift how you understand this connection. The universe doesn't make you cry in your dreams for no reason. Those tears are sacred. They're your soul releasing, communicating, or calling out across dimensions. The first card I pulled is the Page of Pentacles, and when this showed up, I actually had to pause. The Page of Pentacles speaks to new beginnings in the material world, but on a soul level, it represents someone who is learning, growing, and discovering their path. When you're crying for someone in your dreams, this card suggests that person might be going through a significant transformation in their physical reality. They're building something new, possibly starting over, or learning lessons that are reshaping who they are becoming. What's fascinating about this energy is that your soul is connected to their growth journey. You're not crying because you're weak or attached in an unhealthy way. You're crying because on some level, your spirit recognizes what they're going through. The page energy is innocent, earnest, and deeply committed to growth. This person might be working hard on themselves, dealing with practical challenges, or laying foundations for a completely different life. Your tears in the dream state could be your soul's way of witnessing their struggle, celebrating their efforts, or sending them energy across whatever distance separates you. There's something about new chapters and fresh starts embedded in this card. Perhaps this person is at the beginning of understanding their own worth, their own potential, or their own path. And your soul, Taurus, your soul knows this about them. Even if you haven't spoken in weeks or months, even if there's silence in the physical world, the energetic connection remains active. The Page of Pentacles tells me that what you're crying about isn't an ending. It's actually about witnessing someone's becoming. Your soul sees who they're growing into, and it moves you to tears because transformation is sacred. The second card is the Eight of Cups, and okay, this one hit different. The Eight of Cups is literally about walking away, about leaving behind what no longer serves, about that moment when you choose your own healing over comfort. When this appears in the context of crying for someone in dreams, it reveals layers of grief, release, and profound emotional processing happening in your subconscious. Here's what's coming through strongly. Either you or this person, maybe both of you, have had to walk away from something. Maybe it was the relationship itself. Maybe it was certain expectations. Maybe it was a version of love that couldn't exist in reality the way you both wanted it to. The Eight of Cups doesn't show up for surface connections. This card represents deep emotional courage, the kind where you love someone, but you love yourself enough to choose differently. Your tears in the dream state are processing this departure. Even if the walking away happened months ago, even if you think you've healed, the soul operates on a different timeline. Those dreams where you're crying for them, those are nights when your soul is continuing to release, to grieve, to honor what was while accepting what is. And here's something the Eight of Cups wants you to understand. There's no shame in this ongoing process. Just because you've chosen to walk away or they have, doesn't mean the love disappears. It doesn't mean the connection dissolves. It means you're both choosing growth, even if that growth requires distance. What's really tender about this card is that it speaks to the bravery of leaving with love still present. You're not crying because you hate them or because it was toxic necessarily. You're crying because you love them and you still had to choose yourself. That's the kind of soul wound that takes time to integrate. The Eight of Cups promises that this walking away, as painful as it is leading you both towards something more aligned with your highest good. But the journey there involves these nighttime releases, these dream tears that wash away what your waking self tries to hold together. The third card is the Hermit, and when this appeared, I understood something crucial about your dream crying. The Hermit represents solitude, inner wisdom, and that necessary period of retreat where you go inward to find answers. This card in your reading suggests that one or both of you are in a deeply introspective phase right now. You're seeking understanding, clarity, and truth in the silence. When you cry for someone in your dreams and the hermit appears, it often means that the physical separation or silence between you serves a spiritual purpose. This isn't abandonment, this isn't cruelty. This is both of your souls requiring space to discover something essential. The hermit carries a lantern that lights only the next step, not the entire journey. What I'm hearing is that you're both in your own caves right now, doing your own soul work, facing your own shadows. Your tears might be your soul missing them, yes, but they're also tears of recognition. You recognize that this person needs their hermit phase. You recognize that you need yours too. There's a maturity in the hermit energy that understands love doesn't always look like togetherness. Sometimes love looks like giving someone space to find themselves. Sometimes it looks like honoring the silence because words aren't ready yet. The hermit also suggests that this person is thinking deeply about the connection, about you, about what everything meant and means. They might not be reaching out, but that doesn't mean you're forgotten. In their solitude, you exist. In their contemplation, you're present. And your soul knows this, which is why you're crying in dreams. You're feeling the weight of their introspection, the heaviness of their processing, the loneliness of their journey even though you're not physically there to witness it. What the hermit promises is that this phase of inner work, for both of you, is preparing something. The wisdom gained in solitude, the clarity found in silence, these become the foundation for what comes next. Your dream tears are watering seeds that haven't sprouted yet. Trust the hermit phase, Taurus. Trust that the silence is sacred and the distance is deliberate. The fourth card is the Page of Cups, and suddenly the reading shifts into something deeply emotional and beautifully innocent. The Page of Cups is the messenger of feelings, the bearer of emotional news, the energy of pure, unguarded heart expression. When this card appears after the hermit, it's like the universe is saying that after the solitude, after the inner work, there's going to be communication. There's going to be an opening. This card makes me feel that your dream crying might actually be precognitive in some way. You're feeling something before it arrives in your waking reality. The Page of Cups often represents messages, confessions, or emotional expressions that have been held back. Could it be that this person has things they want to say to you, but haven't found the words or courage yet? Could it be that there's a letter unwritten, a text unsent, a conversation rehearsed in their mind 1,000 times? What's beautiful about this page energy is its purity. There's no manipulation here, no games, no strategy. It's just genuine feeling wanting to be expressed. When you cry for someone in dreams and this card appears, your soul might be picking up on their emotional energy, their desire to reach out, their vulnerability that's building toward expression. The Page of Cups says that someone has feelings that are too big to contain much longer. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean immediate reconciliation or that everything falls back into place. What it means is that truth wants to surface. Feelings want to be acknowledged. The heart wants to speak even if the timing isn't perfect or the outcome isn't guaranteed. Your tears could be your soul preparing you for this emotional honesty that's coming. They could be softening your heart, keeping the channel open, ensuring you're receptive when the message arrives. The Page of Cups also speaks to creative and intuitive downloads. Your dreams, your tears, these are your intuition working overtime. You're receiving information through feeling, through symbol, through the language of the soul. Trust what you're sensing. Trust what moves you to tears. There's truth in those emotional responses that your logical mind might dismiss. The fifth card is the Knight of Pentacles, and this grounded, steady energy brings a different flavor to the reading. The Knight of Pentacles is not impulsive, not dramatic, not rushed. This is the energy of someone who takes their time, who builds slowly, who commits to the long game. When you're crying for someone in dreams and this knight appears, it speaks to the practical reality of the connection. Here's what I'm getting. While your soul is having these intense nighttime experiences, while emotions are flowing freely in the dream realm, the physical reality requires patience. The Knight of Pentacles says that whatever is unfolding between you and this person, it's not going to happen overnight. There's a slow, steady progression happening. Changes are being made, foundations are being laid, but it's all happening at a pace that might feel frustrating to your emotional body. This person, or perhaps you or both, are taking a very measured approach to life right now. They're focused on stability, on building something solid, on making sure that when they make a move, it's the right one. The Knight of Pentacles doesn't leap before looking. They calculate, they plan, they ensure everything is in order. Your dream tears might be your soul's impatience with this slow pace. Part of you knows what you want, what you feel, what you sense is possible, but the timing isn't cooperating. What this Knight wants you to understand is that slow doesn't mean never. Steady doesn't mean stagnant. There's progress happening even if you can't see it clearly. This person might be getting their life together, working on themselves, building toward a future where they can show up differently. Or you might be in this energy yourself, taking your time to heal completely before you're ready to revisit anything. The Knight of Pentacles also speaks to loyalty and dedication. Despite the slowness, despite the practical focus, there's a faithfulness to this energy. This isn't someone who forgets easily. This isn't someone whose feelings change with the wind. When this Knight commits, even if it's just an internal commitment to eventual truth or action, they follow through. Your soul might be crying because it recognizes this steadfast quality in them, this reliability that exists beneath all the silence and distance. The sixth card is the Page of Swords, and the energy completely shifts here. The Page of Swords is curious, sometimes anxious, always thinking, always analyzing. This page wants truth, craves clarity, and isn't afraid to ask difficult questions. When this appears in the context of dream crying, it suggests that there's a lot of mental energy around this connection, a lot of trying to figure things out, a lot of conversations happening internally. What I'm sensing is that someone is in their head about this situation. Maybe it's you, lying awake after these dream crying episodes, trying to analyze what it all means, trying to make sense of feelings that logic can't explain. Or maybe it's them, thinking about you, questioning their choices, wondering what could be different. The Page of Swords energy can create a kind of mental restlessness, where you're seeking answers but they remain elusive. Your dream tears might be the emotional release valve for all this mental tension. During the day, you might be trying to be logical, trying to move on, trying to rationalize everything. But at night, when your defenses are down, the truth comes out in tears. Your soul knows what your mind is still trying to debate. The Page of Swords says there are questions that need asking, truths that need speaking, clarity that needs to emerge. This card also suggests that communication, when it does happen, might come in unexpected ways. The Page of Swords can represent written words, messages, or information that arrives suddenly. It could be that the person you're crying for will reach out through a message, or that you'll receive clarity about the situation through something you read, hear, or learn. The sword suit is all about mental clarity cutting through confusion. What's important about this page energy is that it encourages honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. If you're crying in dreams for someone, maybe it's time to get honest with yourself about what those tears really mean. What are you grieving? What are you hoping for? What truth are you avoiding in your waking hours that your dreams are forcing you to feel? The Page of Swords wants you to be brave enough to look directly at your own heart and mind without flinching. The seventh card is the Nine of Swords, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this one. The Nine of Swords represents anxiety, worry, sleepless nights, and mental anguish. When this card appears in a reading about crying for someone in dreams, it confirms that these aren't peaceful, gentle tears. These are the tears that come from deep worry, from fear, from the weight of overthinking and emotional pain. The Nine of Swords tells me that you're carrying a lot of mental and emotional heaviness about this connection. During your waking hours, you might be managing, functioning, going through your days. But at night, when you're vulnerable and your subconscious takes over, all that suppressed anxiety comes flooding out. You're crying because you're scared. Scared of never getting closure, scared they've moved on, scared of what it means if the connection really is over, scared of what it means if it's not. This card is actually a compassionate one, despite its heavy energy. It's acknowledging the reality of your suffering. It's saying, yes, this hurts. Yes, this is keeping you up. Yes, this is affecting your peace. There's no spiritual bypassing here. The Nine of Swords validates that soul connections, especially ones that are unresolved or complicated, can genuinely torment us. The person you're crying for isn't just a casual connection. They've gotten into your mind, your heart, your dream space, and their presence or absence is causing real distress. What I want you to hear through this card is that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay that you're struggling. It's okay that you're crying in your dreams. You're not weak, you're not pathetic, you're not being dramatic. You're a human being with a heart that feels deeply, and that heart is processing something significant. The Nine of Swords often appears when we need to stop pretending we're fine and actually honor the depth of our pain. This card also suggests that some of your worry might be creating scenarios in your mind that aren't real. The Nine of Swords is famous for catastrophic thinking, for imagining the worst, for torture by what if. Your dream tears might be mixed with anxiety about things that haven't even happened. Part of your healing work, Taurus, is learning to separate what's real from what's feared. Not everything your anxious mind tells you is true. The 8th card is the Ten of Swords, and I know this looks intense, but stay with me. The Ten of Swords represents an ending, a completion, a cycle that has fully run its course. It's often depicted as painful, as a moment of defeat or betrayal, but it also represents the absolute bottom, which means the only direction from here is up. When you're crying for someone in dreams and this card appears, it's telling you that there's been a death of some kind. Not a physical death, but the death of a possibility, a version of the relationship, a hope you were holding, an idea of how things would unfold. Your tears are mourning this death. They're the funeral your waking self hasn't fully allowed yourself to have. The Ten of Swords says that something between you and this person has reached its complete ending point. Maybe it's the old dynamic, maybe it's a certain level of connection, maybe it's the chapter where things were uncertain. Whatever it is, it's done. It's over. And that finality is what's making you cry in your sleep. Your soul knows it's finished even if your heart hasn't fully accepted it yet. But here's the thing about the Ten of Swords that people miss. After this card comes the Ace. After the 10, the cycle begins again. This ending is making space for a new beginning. Your dream tears are the release ceremony. You're crying out the old so something new can enter. This person, this connection, it's not disappearing, but it's transforming. What existed before cannot exist in the same way anymore. The Ten of Swords asks you to surrender to what's ending. Stop fighting the closure. Stop trying to resurrect what's already complete. Let yourself cry. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself acknowledge that this particular chapter is finished. Only in that full acceptance can the new chapter begin. Your soul knows this, which is why it's using your dream time to help you process and release. The 9th card is the King of Swords, and this brings a powerful shift in energy. The King of Swords is the master of mental clarity, of truth, of decisive action based on clear thinking. This king doesn't get lost in emotions, doesn't wallow, doesn't deceive himself. He looks at reality objectively and makes choices accordingly. When this card appears after all the emotional intensity we've been moving through, it's like the universe is saying it's time to step into your power. It's time to use your mind as your ally, not your enemy. The King of Swords suggests that either you or the person you're crying for is moving into a phase of greater clarity and decisiveness. Someone is ready to stop being confused, stop being ambiguous, stop sitting in the middle. This king energy might represent you reclaiming your mental sovereignty. After all these tears, after all this processing, there comes a point where you decide what's true for you. You decide what you're available for. You decide what you will and won't accept. The King of Swords is about boundaries, about clear communication, about cutting through illusion with the sword of truth. It could also represent this person stepping into their own clarity. Maybe they've been confused. Maybe they've been unclear about their feelings or what they want. The King of Swords says that confusion is lifting. Decisions are being made. Truths are being faced. When this king shows up, someone is ready to communicate clearly, to be honest about reality, to stop dancing around difficult conversations. Your dream crying might be preparing you for this clarity that's coming. Emotions have to be felt and processed before we can think clearly. All those tears are clearing your emotional body so your mental body can function optimally. The King of Swords promises that you're moving out of the fog, out of the uncertainty, into a place where you can see the situation for what it truly is and decide accordingly. The 10th and final card is the Sun. And Taurus, this is where everything clicks into place. The Sun is joy, clarity, success, truth revealed, warmth returning. After everything we've moved through in this reading, after all the tears and processing and pain and endings, the Sun appears to promise you that this is all leading somewhere beautiful. The Sun tells me that your soul crying for someone in dreams isn't just about loss or pain or difficulty. It's actually about love. Real, genuine, soul-level love that's so bright and powerful it makes you emotional even in sleep. The Sun represents the truth of the connection, the authentic bond that exists beneath all the complications, confusion, and challenges. What's extraordinary about the Sun appearing as your final card is that it speaks to revelation and breakthrough. Everything that's been unclear is going to become clear. Everything that's been hidden is going to be illuminated. The tears you're crying in dreams are watering the seeds of something incredibly positive. This isn't a reading about permanent loss. It's a reading about transformation that leads to joy. The sun says that you and this person, whatever you've been through, whatever distance or silence or difficulty has existed, you're both moving toward the light. There's a future here that's brighter than you currently imagine. The connection that makes you cry in your dreams is a connection that also has the power to make you laugh with pure happiness. The depth of your tears indicates the depth of the love and the potential joy. This card promises that authenticity is coming. No more games, no more confusion, no more hiding. The sun illuminates everything, and in that illumination, truth emerges. This person, whoever they are, whatever role they play in your life, they're significant. The sun doesn't show up for meaningless connections. Your soul recognizes the magnitude of this bond, which is exactly why it moves you to tears. What I love about the sun as your closing card is that it represents the inner child, innocence, and pure happiness. After all the adult complexity, after all the fear and anxiety and endings, you're being invited back to a place of simple joy. Maybe the connection with this person, when it's in its healthiest form, brings out your inner child. Maybe it reminds you how to play, how to laugh, how to feel wonder. The sun is also about success and achievement. Whatever you've been hoping for regarding this connection, whatever your heart truly desires at its deepest level, the sun says it's possible. Not guaranteed, not immediate, not without continued growth and healing, but possible. Your soul crying for them in dreams is actually your soul celebrating them, honoring them, calling them toward the light with you. So Taurus, after moving through all 10 cards, here's what I'm seeing clearly. You're crying for someone in your dreams because your soul recognizes a deep, significant connection that transcends the physical realm. This isn't just some random person or fleeting attraction. This is someone who touches your soul, who appears in your dreams because they exist in your energetic field. The tears are multifaceted. They're grief for what's ended or changed. They're release of anxiety and worry. They're processing of transformation, both yours and theirs. They're also tears of love, of recognition, of soul-level knowing. Your subconscious is working overtime to help you integrate this connection and everything it means for your journey. What the cards promise is that this crying, this emotional release, is part of a larger process leading you toward clarity, healing, and ultimately toward joy. The person you're crying for is going through their own journey, their own transformation, their own healing. You're both in process, both growing, both being prepared for whatever is meant to unfold next. The universe is using your dream state to keep the connection alive, to help you process what your waking mind can't fully handle, to prepare you emotionally for what's coming. Trust these dreams, trust these tears, trust that your soul knows what it's doing. You're not crying for no reason. You're crying because love is real, because connection matters, because your soul recognizes something your mind might still be trying to understand. If you've been crying for someone in your dreams, know that you're not alone in this experience. Many of us have soul connections that show up in our sleep, that move us to tears, that refuse to be ignored. Your dreams are sacred space where truth lives, where masks fall away, where your soul can fully express what it needs to express. Be gentle with yourself, Taurus. Honor these tears. Journal about these dreams. Pay attention to the emotions that come through. They're messengers, guides, teachers, and most importantly, trust that you're being led somewhere beautiful. The sun promised it,